Okay, part 2. We are adding our modules flow lines to our layout. So we're just bringing our ruler guides down, and I'm kind of eyeballing it, which is totally fine. Excuse me. We're just bringing this down 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm just bringing them down into like trying to make them feel like squares. It's okay if it's not matching up completely evenly. That's not a big deal because your modules don't have to be. It's just the idea of making these module spaces. If you feel strongly that you want them to be module, you can divide your space equally. You know, get in here with the measurements. You know, we know it's an 8 by 8, so you can go in and move these. So like here's the 4-inch. So we want to go down here to 4 and then divide the space around the 2. Probably better to do it that way. And you know what, I'll take these out. I'm going to think what I just said. We'll just make it more evenly spaced based on our measurement. There. So there is our 1, 2, 3, 4 rows and 4 columns layout. Okay. So then all right. Then we are going back here to our InDesign, our assignment sheet, our assignment sheet. So we need to choose a typeface that's a Swiss design typeface. We need to make our type a point, and we have to fit all of the copy on. So the way we're going to grab our copy is we're going to go over here to the PDF. And what I do is I just go into the PDF, select it, Command C to copy it. I come over here, I use the type tool, and I'm just going to make a type box and Command V. Here's the type box. I can open it up. There's all my type. Just came in randomly from the PDF. So the first thing I need to do is make it a typeface, a Swiss typeface, and I need to make it 8 point. So first I'm going to make it 8 point, and I need to make it 8 on 11, right? Because that is our body copy and leading. And then it cannot be minion. That's not a Swiss typeface. So you're going to need to, oh, and you know what I didn't tell you? Hold on, I'm going to tell you, now that we're laying in type, hold on 1 second. I'm going to say one more thing before I go any further. Notice workspace. Now that we have our grid set up, we're going to move into our workspace. So here in the upper right-hand corner is the workspace. You want to choose typography. We're always going to be working in a typography workspace. So go ahead, if you haven't done this already, choose the typography workspace. Okay, do we have some questions? I'm looking at. Are we still having some issues with the rulers?
Yeah, mine have the rulers on and everything. It just won't let me make the line. Like you won't I click on the screen and or try to do all kind of different things, but it just won't let me make the line.
Okay.
I can share
You're
my screen.
are you showing your guides?
Yes.
So when you go under view, guides and grids, you have them showing.
Under view, guides and grids,
View.
show, snappy guides, .com guides, smart guides.
Okay.
Yeah, those 3 are checked.
You're in normal screen mode. Are you in the normal screen mode?
Meaning,
Screen mode normal is what I mean in the view. If you look at the screen I'm sharing, it'll show you.
screen mode normal. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so you can see your ruler up here at the top. You can see
Yes,
the
ma'am.
ruler.
Yes, ma'am. I see the ruler and everything. It just won't let me make the line.
Let's go to your layout ruler guide. Click on that. And what color is it?
It's
And what view?
violet. It's on 5% and it's violet. So it's purple.
Okay, and it's 5%.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. I have everything
You know,
right. It's just it won't let me make the line at all.
why don't you share your screen? Let's take a look at it.
Okay. It won't let me till you stop sharing.
Oh, sorry. Go
You're
ahead.
fine. So like I have everything on it, like the ruler and stuff. It just won't let me make a line.
You might want to restart InDesign.
I was just going to say, I think I think you're having an issue with InDesign. I think save what you have, exactly. Save what you have and go ahead and quit InDesign and then let's restart it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So where were we? Okay, so we made sure that we are in the typography workspace. We have our type we've copied over and it's in here. We've made it 8. We've used the type tool to select our copy. It's 8 on 11. Now we need to choose a typeface.
Sorry,
That
Professor,
is,
could you share your screen again?
oh, thank you guys. I'm so sorry. I keep thinking it's sharing. So thank you for reminding me. All right, so here we are. We're going to be choosing a typeface. We have our type in here. And we've made it 8 on 11, 8 over 11. We're going to click on our typeface. I'm just going to use Helvetica. Okay. All right. So you'll see, I'm going to blow up this for a second. Notice how, here's my type. Notice how it's not sitting on the baseline grid automatically. It's just floating kind of above. I can, get in here and look real closely. And then when I look real closely, it's sitting now on the baseline grid. But if I move this box around, it's not automatically on the baseline grid. We need our type to always be working when we're using the baseline grid, sitting on the baseline grid. And there's a couple different ways to make that happen. So before I even do anything, I'm going to set up this copy so that it's always going to make my life easier by always sitting on the baseline grid. So I'm going to select my copy. I'm going to go over to paragraph setting on the far right. I'm in the typography workspace, so it'll be over here on the right. And at the very bottom corner of this window, you'll see there is two little boxes. One is the 2 columns of copy are uneven. And over here to the right, the 2 columns are aligning to the baseline grid. When I click this, it locks my copy block onto the baseline grid. So if I go to my move tool and I start moving my box around, I want you to see what's happening. What's happening to my type?
It's staying on the baseline grid.
Yeah, it's going to stay on the baseline grid no matter what, no matter where I put it. If I uncheck that box and I move my box around, notice how it's not aligning to any grid. So checking the box aligns it to the grid. So that means no matter what, you're not going to be off the grid, which is important for this assignment, is to stay on the grid. Okay, so we have all this type that came in from a PDF. So it has some settings that where I copied it. You do not have to keep it. For example, the headline is in all uppercase. It does not have to stay in all uppercase. You can change that. And the way you can change that is you go into type. Change case. You can make it sentence case. And now it's no longer all uppercase. And you might want to say, okay, I want a sentence case, but I want to capitalize every first word in this headline. You then might want to go into your actual disease names and say, well, actually for those, I do want them all uppercase. So you can go to type, change case, uppercase. So you can go in and you don't have to retype anything. You just change the case. You might find an extra period sometimes in places. You take them out if you see them. Or actually that's the last line of the sentence. Sorry, I meant to hit that one. There we go. Type, change case, uppercase. And then here, type, change case, uppercase. Okay, so you're going to be laying out your copy in columns. Or figuring out how you want to organize your copy. So as you can see, we have 4 columns. When you have a column of copy and you see this little red box appear, this little red box right here, that's telling me in this type box, there's more copy. So while I'm in the selection tool, the black arrow, I click on that. I want you to notice my cursor has now been loaded with what looks like copy. If I click here and drag out another type box, the rest of the copy from that column is going to flow into this column. And I can pull it out. And now I see, look, there's another red box. So I can click on that and click and drag another type. So when I look at my copy, I can go into it and say, okay, I want to have some spacing here, and just go in and add some hard returns, which will allow me to have, okay, if I want, space after each one. I can then also go into my type boxes using my selection tool, click on the points, and you can see with my arrows, it goes up and down. And I can shorten the type box so that the next paragraph, the next type box starts with one of these heads. Oh, and I forgot to make this one all caps. So I can go back up to my type, change case, uppercase, back to my selection tool, go into that type box, put a space, go back to my selection tool, and
Professor,
yes.
sorry, how did you get
worries.
like the spacing in between the next paragraph?
I'll show you right here. We're going to use the type tool. And so here you see how these two are right next to each other. I'm going to put my cursor at the end of the sentence of the paragraph, and I'm going to hit the return button. And that gives me an extra space.
So sorry, so when the text was loaded, how did you know how much sorry, I don't know how to word this. When your text is loaded, how did you know how big the text box to make so that just the 2 paragraphs are there?
Well, I didn't. I adjusted the paragraph. So for example, right now, so there's a red box here. So it's telling me there's still more copy here. I click on the red box. I come over here. I'm making it the width of my column. You see that? I'm pulling it so it's the width of my column. But then I can go into each one of these and move it up and down. So I'm moving it up so that it pushes all the copy into the next column. And then I'm going to make this column longer to open it up to get all of the copy for typothermia in this last column. So there's no red box here telling me there's more copy.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, you can adjust once you don't need to know exactly how many. So for example, like here, I want to add another, I might want to make, so this is my intro. So I might want to make my intro go across 2 columns, but I don't want typophilia there. So I'm going to move it up. Then I'm going to take typophilia and move it here over. And I don't want typophobia to start. So I'm going to make my box shorter. Boom. And now I'm going to pull typophobia over. Now, the thing is, as you get more boxes like this, it's going to be very important you don't start getting them mixed up and move and confuse the flow of your columns and how we read, because we read left to right. And so I'm making multiple text boxes so that I can move them around. So I have now 5 text boxes. They all are connected. So if I scooch this up, you're going to see more copy go from here to there. So you got to be careful that you're not accidentally mixing up the order that we read these in. They have to still read in the right order. I'm going to grab the type tool again at another space here. And now I'm going to look at the active corner. So we were talking about modules. So I'm going to use just a box to show you color, just to show you the modules. So for example, and this is just really to illustrate the module. So here's the module for this square. And this module, I'm going to move it out of the way, has an active corner, which is this upper left-hand corner. And so when I'm aligning my copy, I want to align it into the active corner of my modules.
That's fine.
Okay. Then I can move my boxes around as I see fit.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Can you show how you click and drag like a chunk of text one more time? I missed it the second time again.
Sure. So when you have a type box that has a little red dot, so the box is smaller and it's showing a little red dot, you click on it and that loads your cursor with the copy. You then click and drag, and I'm making it the width of my column. Notice how I'm keeping my type inside the column. It doesn't go into the gutters. There's no copy going into the gutters.
Okay.
Okay.
And like say if I wanted to take out like text that was on the screen, like for typophobia, the fears, would I have to make it smaller and then take it out?
What do you want to take out?
If I wanted to take out the last little paragraph in that, I would have to make it smaller first and then take it out.
Right, you want to make it smaller, and then it
Mhm.
goes up here. Do you see that? And then it's going to make, you can, if you want to have that be its own little box, it can be there.
Okay.
Then you can move it around.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay. All right. So you have 4 diseases. You have an intro text. And you can, everything needs to be in 8-point on 11. And then you can select your type. So for example, Helvetica, I have it in medium for my body copy. I can make, you know, my headers bold. I can play with that. I can play with the tracking, which is in, there's paragraph setting, which is where we did the locking it all on the grid. We also have character settings, which is where you can also, it's up here on the top because we're in typography, but you can also pull out the side window as well, which you can add, you know, play with the tracking and some other elements as well. Notice how the thing to be careful of, and this is what I want you to be really cautious of. So notice how I have and times Roman is sitting up here above the paragraph for typochondria. What do we call this when we see just a few words from the paragraph before in the column before? Who remembers what this is called?
Widow?
Yes, you're right. It is a widow. And so what we would want to do is take and pull open our type box over here on the left, and then that will pull that copy back over here. And then I can realign. I can go in here and realign, making sure I'm kind of thinking about. I'm taking out, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to delete a space there so that I get that on the same page. But notice how when I make one change, others happen. So I'm going to get rid of that type box because I don't want two here for myself. And I can play with weights, play with spacing, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to answer any questions now. I think you guys all get the idea of how we can start organizing and thinking about now, once you've got all your copy in here, now it's thinking about balance, placement. How do we use the grid to help us organize and know what order to read things in? Remember, we're telling a story. So there's a headline, there's an introduction, and then there's 4 things we want people to learn. How do we guide them through the layout to figure that out?